Hey guys, it's Derek here, and I want to talk about the recently released character Monarch of the Sword Iseria. Uh, Came out last week. I have yet to pull her, but I will give you my thoughts on her from an RTA standpoint after playing against her a bunch in Legend rank RTA, and I will just dive right into her S2, which is passive ability, which gives her 70% pen res, which means she will not be taking any damage from pen units unless she is sealed. Like G-Ross, if G-Ross can't reach through Arunko or Ilanov on your team, uh, even like though Mort is a counter to her, his S3, if she's the highest target, will not deal damage to her. A lot of characters like Strays, uh, even Freyr in S3 is not going to hit that hard. And she also doubles her counter chance, which will mean when she uses counter set, if they hit her, it will be a 60% chance, and then it will be a 40% chance when you use Elbrus hitting an ally, which is really strong as being able to counter every turn is really like nice. And she gets a barrier when she counters based off her attack, so she'll be pretty tanky even with a like mid-range HP if you have a good attack on her. So and her S1, getting into it, is very interesting. On her turn or dual attacks, it will penetrate the defense of the enemy, making her really strong into characters with a decent amount of defense, like the 1.5k plus range. So into Soul Weavers, into Knights, into Arunka specifically, if there is no Ilanov, she will be dealing massive damage, especially on her Soul Burn, being able to even one-shot some Arunkas that are under like 22k HP when she has like 1 or 2 fracture stacks. And when she's counterattacking, she will proc a special attack, which it won't penetrate defense, but instead inflict additional damage, which applies injury, as well as zero pushing herself and the frontmost ally. And the frontmost ally will also counterattack, which gives her a lot of utility, I would say, if your frontline unit requires taking turns to be useful, as well as has a really strong S1. So Arunka is a ideal example. Amalpera is pretty good. Like just any character who likes taking turns and has strong counters. Uh, and I think before she was released, like looking on paper, her kit is not that special in my opinion. I think it's a 4 or 5 unit, very like niche. She has counters, obvious counters, you would say, as well as her S3 is fixed damage as well, inflicts fracture and injury. Uh, so it's like she's not really doing any like kind of like unique mechanic outside of buffing herself to have more attack and less defense, making her very good in like the damage department if she can reach 10 fractures. But then when we got into RTA matches and played against her, you realize this character's fixed damage is insane. Usually fixed damage gets hard shafted when you face Maid Chloe or FCC. But this character deals enough fixed damage to pack a punch through Maid Chloe and FCC, as well as her injury makes it so you can't even shield or heal uh, fast enough to take her out. So if you're playing Maid Chloe and you don't have a DPS that can take out Monarch of the Sword Azaria within like the first like 5 turns of their turn, she is going to wreak havoc. And one thing I'll say is her counters attacks will still CR push even when she's sealed. So, like let's say you seal with who is it? Like Emma Luna, and then your next attack after Emma Luna procs a counter, she can push up the front unit, and if it's a cleanser, cleanse all the stuff. And her S3 self cleanses, so seal will not be that strong of a thing into her unless you can kill her before she takes a turn or a cleanser takes a turn. Another thing I would like to say is this character will basically always counter off any single target attack. Like it's very rare, it's like a 50-50 coin flip for each single target attack to not counter. So if you don't have enough damage, she is just going to keep countering and cause havoc on your team. And some things I would say that I've noticed from playing against her is if you play pure tank down like turn 2, she's going to be very hard to play, especially because her biggest weakness is debuffers. If you don't take turn 1 and they debuff you and you don't have a way to remove the debuffs, in a good amount of time, as well as stay undebuffed so she can counterattack, she's not going to do anything. However, what I think is her strongest style is actually aggro, as let's say you play a strong debuffer on 3, or maybe 2 debuffers 1-2, or a really fast unit that can cleanse on 1, or a really fast unit that just provides a lot of utility, a lot of buffs, and you're cycling turns. Uh, Being very aggressive is just going to be overall nice for her, because let's say you do a lot of things to the team to mostly get a win, and then they take a turn and they get punished on their turn. Monarch Iseria counter. They're now getting punished off their turns and during their turns. It's going to be very hard for them to actually create tempo for themselves when you've already had so much tempo and getting more off of them just getting counterattacked by Iseria. So I think this unit is a very, very broken DPS. Like, in my opinion, I think she's stronger than DN by a long shot. I think DN is very broken, but there's like a level of like play where it's very hard to feel satisfying while playing her unless you have every like opportunity to cleave, pivot to standard, or play turn 2 when you play DN. It feels really weird when you can't have a strong pivot with her, as well as when you pick her early. There are some characters that can really like make it feel awkward to play DN. So like if you're not like a well-versed DN player, it won't feel that like amazing to play DN, and it will just be like kind of like an A tier, I would say, DPS or just character in general. But with Iseria, like no matter how you play, she punishes basically on the enemy's turns. She gives very good damage on her turn and off her turn, as well as being able to CR push and make your front unit take a lot of turns to cycle their useful abilities, as well as have strong S1s like Emopera to like deal damage to enemies. And that's kind of like my overall thoughts about the character. I don't own her, and I haven't played against her recently because I have been pre-banning her because she's been quite annoying. But that's kind of like the gist. I'm not a big fan of her. Fighting her, not a big fan. But I think she would be really fun to play if I did have her, and I would spam her a bunch. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.